everyone. Welcome to the D. Louise book series, DELUISE. Merry Christmas to everybody. It's that time of year. Unfortunately, I did not get my Christmas miracle of 1,000 subscribers. I haven't even gotten out of the 140s yet. So all of you who have subscribed, I thank you very much. If you have a page or know somebody that has a page that'd like to let everybody know about my little old page, I'm not fancy. I'm just reading books, talking books. There's no special effects going on here. I have no theme music. I'm just reading books, and I read series books, and we're doing my comfort series for the month. We're doing J.D. Robb and Janet Ivanovich, and we are up to Top Secret 21. So, shall we get started? And don't forget Lorelei King and the audiobooks. These are awesome. Most of my books, I do own the audiobook and the physical book. More recently, though, I've been with Audible. So I've been doing a lot of them at Audible, so I don't have the physicals anymore. But the next couple of books, I have the physicals. So check it out. And so we're talking about Stephanie was hired by Ranger to assist him with a job. And so she's in a bar looking all sexy, waxy, in an attempt. Oh, good grief. There's going to be Pussycat War. All right, let's get started here. She's in a bar with Ranger, and she's helping him collect a FTA. She distracts the FTA, and then Ranger slaps the cuffs on him, and they take him away. The next day, she goes to the office. She has a new FTA, Jimmy Poletti. He's supposedly a car dealer. He owns a car dealership. Lula got a speeding ticket, and both Lula and Connie feel that she wasted an opportunity with Ranger the previous evening. And Vinny yells and screams that he wants her to go after Poletti. And I should back up here that Stephanie is a bounty hunter. Lula, she works for her cousin Vinny. Connie is the office manager. Lulu is her partner, sort of, kind of. We have Randy Briggs reappearing. He's a dwarf, and he helped them out in the book before the book. I think it was Notorious 19, I think, of helping them solve a mystery of disappearing people in the hospital. So he's back. So we'll be seeing a lot of him. We still have Grandma Mazur for our amusement, and her mother and her father. And then we have Joseph Morelli and Ranger, the two love interests. Ranger is Special Forces, and Morelli is a cop. And sometimes I feel that Ranger has more time for Steph than Joe does sometimes. I made a thing about that in my last book. So she goes after Jimmy Poletti, and his wife Trudy says he's been gone since Friday. So they go to check with his kids. He has a couple kids. They haven't seen him. Then they go to his mother's house and find that she has passed away, and people are there for her funeral. Grandma Mazur talks about Jimmy Poletti and gives Steffi some information. She goes back to her apartment, and Randy Briggs has shown up. He was Poletti's bookkeeper, and he knows all the secrets. He knows where all the money is, where the money laundering was done, where the offshore accounts are. He knows all that stuff, and maybe that's why someone is trying to kill him, because his apartment was firebombed, and that's why he's at Steph's. Then Stephanie decides to use Randy as bait. Randy knows where the properties are and lists all of Jimmy's associates, So they go to the office, and Connie says, no, Randy cannot stay at the office. So then they go check out the parking garage that Paletti owned, and there's a large police presence. Someone was murdered there. And I'm going to make her a part of my podcast from now on. She goes off every single time I do a podcast. Bing, bing. But she can't tell time. She hasn't told time in over 20 years. So she goes to the parking garage, and there's someone dead. And as you know, when I do these books, because I enjoy these books so much, I have to share them with you. I really, really like these books. And I just have to share the cute moments. It's the exit wound, Morelli said. Whoever killed him flipped him over. Half his brain is splattered on the silver Honda over there. A wave of nausea rolled through me, and I felt myself break out in a cold sweat. You're kind of white, Morelli said. You're not going to do the girl thing and faint, are you? The girl thing? Excuse me. Morelli grinned. You're such a cupcake. I sucked in air and made an effort to settle my stomach. So big deal if I am a cupcake. Seemed to me it was a lot better than being a bagel. So they go through all that. Morelli says it was business. Oh, he goes, Mike Kelly saw you with Ranger last night. It was business. Morelli continued to look at me with what I call his cop eyes. They're hard and unwavering, an emotional stare he uses to extract confessions from killers in the interrogation room. Not going to work, I told him. I have nothing to confess. I got another grin. You know all my tricks. I raised an eyebrow and grinned. Randy Briggs showed up on my doorstep this morning. I said he claims Paletti tried to run him down with the Mustang and took a shot at him. And then someone shot a firebomb into his apartment. And they discuss more things. They go to check out another one of Paletti's apartments, rooming house, and we took the stairs to the street, and we gasped when we saw the Explorer. It was on cinder blocks, all four wheels and some of its innards. No one was around, just the picked clean car sitting at the curb all by itself. So they went to check on an FTA, and when they come out, the entire car has been stripped. The entire car has been stripped, and the wheels are missing. And Lula is sound asleep in the passenger seat. Lula was inside, slumped behind the wheel, head back, eyes closed, mouth open. I didn't see any blood. She wasn't moving. I wrenched the driver's side door open, and Lula snorted and opened her eyes. Are you okay? I asked her. Yep, it's like a ghost town here. Nothing going. She looked straight ahead out the windshield and saw that the hood was up. What with that? She asked. Someone stripped the car while you were asleep, Briggs said. Boy, you are stupid. Lula got out and stared at what was left of the Explorer. That's just rude. I rest my eyes for a minute and Mr. Sneaky Thief comes along. These people have no respect. They took our wheels. What's with that? Anyone could see I was in the car and needed those wheels to get home. How am I supposed to get home without wheels? You gotta love it. So, she gets Big Blue, and for the record, the big Buick never gets hurt. Ever, ever, ever. Whenever she gets Big Blue, it will never get hurt. It's a good car, and it never gets hurt. And if you were in the 70s and you were alive, you loved the boats on wheels. I had a Malibu, a Chevy Malibu. The front was like 20 feet long and had a 10-foot deep trunk, and you could put groceries in there. And I lived in that car for college. The back seat was big enough you could sleep in it between classes. I miss those boats. You got in an accident, you had 20 feet of engine between you. Not like today. You know, like today, there's like that much. So they go looking at some of the other Pauletti's rental offices. They go back to the office. Then she goes back to her apartment. And Randy says that Buster, the cousin, was tight with Jimmy. He lives over the pizza place. So they buy a pizza and they go to the apartment. And they're on their way up the stairs. And Pauletti's on his way down the stairs. And there's a dead guy in the apartment. The first of many victims Bernie Scooch is found dead. Pauletti didn't kill him, but he found him and decided to run out, but they don't know that at this juncture. Then Connie says there was something going on at the Rangeman building. The entire thing is sealed off. She calls Ranger. He says it wasn't anthrax and it was an accident with Gardy. She calls Morelli. He says he doesn't know whatever happened. It was serious. Lula, Randy, Steph go check on the remaining poker players, and they don't get any information. Lula says Lula and Briggs are not happy together, so they do a rangeman drive-by, and there's an 18-wheeler crime lab, 18-wheeler crime lab out front of his building. She calls Morelli and they set a lunch date. She takes Lula to the office. She drops Briggs at her parents so she can have a private lunch date with Morel. And he tells her what happened at Ranger's. Ranger had Emilio Gardy in custody, the guy that Stephanie was distracting at the bar the previous evening. Would you stop? If my computer screen wobbles a little, it's because someone's making love to it. Well, come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Here. She's the mouse cat. My other cat's the ball cat. This cat's the mouse cat. Come here. Come here. Ranger had Emilio Gardy in custody, waiting for extradition to Miami. Gardy apparently had some very bad stuff with him that he was going to use to take Ranger out. This whole operation, something went wrong and Gardy accidentally took the hit. One of Rangeman guys is also pretty sick, but everyone else got out. So Gardy was a setup? Looks that way. I don't know all the details. The feds aren't releasing any information on the containment, but Gardy and the Rangeman guy are in serious isolation and being treated for radiation poisoning. And the first responder said Gardy was screaming about polonium and begging for medical help. What's polonium? I don't know exactly, but I didn't have time to Google it. I'm told it's some stuff, speculate stuff that killed Yasser Arafat. Supposedly, it's not a nice death. That's creepy. Probably you're going to be too creeped out to sleep tonight, and you're going to need a big, strong guy like me to keep you safe. I narrowed my eyes at him. Did you make all this up just so I'd sleep with you? No, I'm not that clever, but I am getting desperate, so let me know if it's working. I have Briggs to protect me. I hear some sarcasm there, but I know Briggs, and he's a little mean bastard. I wouldn't underestimate him in a bar fight. Then She picks up Randy, and they go look at his burnt out apartment, and it's toast. They get Lula. They take Randy to Stark Street as bait. A black SUV comes by, and they kidnap Randy. He don't look natural, Lula said. Nobody's gonna shoot him with him looking like that. We don't want him shot, I said. We want to drag Paletti out into the open. I guess that's one way to go. A half hour later, a black SUV cruised down the street and stopped in front of Briggs and the pizza place. I can't see Briggs anymore, Lula said. That big-ass black car is in my way. Give me your gun. What? Your gun. Lula stuck her hand into her purse and rooted around. It's in here somewhere. I was out of the Buick running across the street when the SUV took off. No Briggs on the sidewalk. I ran back to the Buick, jumped behind the wheel, and roared after the SUV. They've got him, I said to Lula. Have you found your gun yet? I might have left it in my other purse. At the last minute, I decided to wear these purple shoes, and you know how important it is to coordinate properly. I have two purses. One is a messenger bag I use every day. The other is a little black evening bag I use 3 times a year. They're both black. The Buick has no pickup, but once it gets rolling, it's a tank. I was a half block behind the SUV when it stopped for a light. I rammed the Buick into the back of the SUV, bouncing it halfway into the intersection. One of the doors opened on the passenger side and Briggs was tossed out. The light changed and the crumpled SUV drove off. Lula and I got out, picked Briggs up off the road. Are you okay? I asked him. No thanks to you. I just got kidnapped. Was it Paletti? No, it was 2 whacked out guys who said they always wanted to kidnap a midget. I mean, what the heck is wrong with this world? What has it come to? Did you explain to them you aren't a midget no more? Lula asked. That you are a very short person now? No, I punched one of them in the nuts, and he drew me out of the car. I thought you were supposed to be protecting me. Suppose that was Paletti. Hey, she crashed into that car for you. She didn't even care about damaging her own personal property. We all looked at the Buick. Not a scratch on the Buick. Where's my thing? Where's my thing? I don't know. I don't know. Where's my thing? She goes to her parents' house, and her grandmother has a bucket list. I'm even working on my bucket list. Everyone stopped eating and turned to Grandma. What's on your bucket list? I asked. I got 6 things so far, Grandma said. First off, I want new breasts. These ones I got are a mess. They got all flattened and droopy. Second, I want to see Ranger naked. If I can't see him naked, except I'm sure I would like to see his privates. But I bet they're a sight. I don't get to see a lot of privates these days. My mother's face flushed. Briggs squirmed in his seat, and a piece of pot roast fell out of my mother's mouth. And then I want to get Joe's Grandma Bellis, Grandma said. I don't care with her. She don't scare me with her evil eye baloney. I don't know how I'm going to get her. I'm going to get her good. The fourth thing is I want to march in a parade. The fifth thing is I want to take down a bad guy. And the last thing is a secret. Grandma looked over at Briggs. How about you? Do you have a bucket list? You had more fun with her, right? So then they go to the viewing. Buster's there. He tells her Randy had an affair with Pauletti's wife. Maybe that's why Pauletti wants Briggs dead. They return to her parents' house. Randy had a little too much alcohol during dinner and he passed out cold. So they leave him on the kitchen floor, passed out cold. Then Ranger has an appointment. He's in her apartment when she returns. He was not in the building when it happened. Bruce McCready, one of his men, discovered Gardy with the canister. There was a struggle and the canister was activated and Gardy panicked and confessed all. Morelli said he thought Gardy was working for someone who had a vendetta against you. Ranger was leaning against my kitchen counter looking relaxed, his brown eyes mostly black in the dim light. I've made some enemies. That's it? That's all you've got? Some enemies? The corners of his mouth turned up into the smallest smiles. Are you worried about me? Of course I'm worried about you. Nice. He looked at his watch. I've got to go. What? Are you serious? You didn't tell me anything. This is why I'm not married, Ranger said. Women ask questions. Oh, I said, smacking my forehead with the heel of my hand. That's not why you're not married. You're not married because you're impossible. He dragged me to him and kissed me, and I felt the kiss travel like lava to my doodah. I have some issues to resolve, he said. No kidding. And he left. So the next day, Connie has a new skip, Stanley Kalicki. They go to get Stanley Kalicki. He's naked and he's on the roof of his house. One thing leads to another. He falls off the roof and they call the ambulance to come get him. He's okay though. So then Randy calls. She had left him in her apartment and someone has firebombed her apartment. So she returns. She goes back to her parents. Lula calls Stanley. They go to Cluck in the Bucket. They see Jimmy Pauletti there. They go on a chase. They had went and captured Stanley again, the naked guy. They get him in the car. They go to Cluck in the Bucket because they all need food. God forbid they take anybody straight to the police station. They never take anybody straight to the police station unless Ranger's involved. They get something to eat, and while they are getting something to eat, they see Jimmy Pauletti. They drop everything, go after Jimmy Pauletti, and when they get back, Stanley's gone. There's always one each book that's forever getting away. She goes back to the apartment. Morelli is there. Connie says her informant says that Gardy is not doing well and McCready is stable. They go for donuts. Stephanie goes looking for Ranger's new place because he's not staying at Rangeman because of the chemical. So she travels around the block, the neighborhood, because she's determined to find out where Ranger is since he's not at Rangeman. And the gate opened. I got into the Buick and drove into the parked paving area. There were 3 black SUVs parked and 3 more spaces. The back door to the townhouse opened and Tank looked out. He didn't look happy to see me. I stepped past him into a hallway that led to the front of the house and a 6-man elevator. 3rd floor, Tank said, holding the elevator for me. The elevator opened onto the 3rd floor loft and Ranger. He didn't look that happy either. But then it's hard to tell with Ranger. He doesn't usually show a lot of emotion. The walls were white, the furniture was sleek black leather. The floors were cement. There was a small, ultra-modern galley kitchen, a dining room table, 6 chairs, a corner side as an office, a couch, and a coffee table in front of a flat-screen television, and a section partitioned off that I imagined was the bedroom and bathroom. "Is this the bat cave?" I asked him. "It was a safe house until you discovered it. And now it's not safe. Now it's a home." Wow. The corners of his mouth twitched into the beginning of a smile. "Don't read too much into that. It's a profound revelation. I don't know how to tell you this, but your safe house wasn't that hard to find. Only because you know me so well, and it's more satellite office than safe house. Was there a specific reason for this visit?" "I have 2 problems. The first is Jimmy Poletti. I know Poletti is in the area just because he shot a firebomb into my living room. Unfortunately, I'm not having any luck capturing him. I thought you might be able to help me." Hello. Hello. Um, she gets Briggs. Ranger needs to get in to see Gardy. Tells him the best way is housekeeping. They go to the hospital. Randy gets them clothes. Randy tells them what to say and do. They go into Gardy's room and they interrogate him. And he tells them everything they want to know. And Gardy was talking about Vlatko. She goes to the Bond's office, gets Briggs, and gets pizza and heads home. Gets home to Joe's house. She goes to her parents' house for her laundry. Grandma tells her Emilio Gardy is dead. When she returns to Melly, Briggs says he needs cookies and ice cream. She goes to the store. She calls Ranger, said she is out of money and she needs help catching Poletti. Stephanie can't get close with Joe because Briggs is in the house. She can't do stuff when there's somebody else in the house. Stephanie and Grandma go to the funeral. Poletti shows up. Briggs sees Jimmy and goes after him. Randy and Briggs get into it. Let's see. "Briggs," I said to Ranger. "He sees Jimmy." Ranger moved forward, but not in time to stop Briggs. "It's him! It's him!" Briggs yelled, pointing to Poletti. "You son of a bitch!" The priest froze mid-blessing, mouth open, eyes wide, every head swiveled to the maple tree. Poletti went deer in the headlights. "I've got a gun," Lula said, shoving her hand into her purse. "Just everyone hold up till I get my gun." The plainclothes guys were on the move, and my geriatric mourners scrambled to get away from the action, pushing and shoving, heading for their cars. Lula had a 2-handed grip on her Glock and was trying to get a sight on Poletti. Briggs was enraged, his face bright red, his eyes crazy. "What the hell is wrong with you, Briggs?" yelled at Poletti. "You blew up my apartment, you moron." "You did my wife," Poletti yelled back, running full tilt at Briggs. "I hate you." "Everyone does your wife," Briggs shouted. "I don't see you blowing up everybody's apartment. It's because I'm short, isn't it?" Lula fired off a shot that went right, and Poletti charged Briggs. Grandma swung her purse just as Poletti swept past her. The black patent leather bag caught Poletti on the side of the head, and Poletti staggered and crashed into the ground. Ranger cuffed him, and the 3 cops took over. I'm back! Sorry. Ranger tells Stephanie he needs to go to New York and he wants her to come with him. They go question the hotel clock where the enemy stayed, and he's Russian, and the reason he stayed at the hotel is because it's a couple of blocks from the satellite Russian consulate. So they Some Russian guys are in the hotel. Stephanie gets close with them. She gets an invite to a big party at the consulate. She goes to the consulate with Ranger. Vlatko approaches her. He tries to slash her, but she had tried to enhance herself with some tissues. And so Ranger gets scared by this, and he sends her home. She goes to Morelli. Briggs says he's going to stay with his cousin now that they've captured Paletti, so he leaves. And she talks to Morelli about her grandmother. So how did your day go? I asked Morelli. My grandmother says your grandmother is stalking her. That could be true. Grandma made a bucket list and getting your grandmother is on it. Did she say how she was going to get her? I don't think she's decided. She wouldn't do anything crazy like shoot her or beat her silly with a baseball bat, would she? I don't want to have to arrest your grandmother. I'll talk to her. She goes to her parents' house, to talk to Grandma. There have been some rumors that you're stalking Joe's Grandma Bella. You bet I'm stalking her. I'm freaking her out. She tried to put the whammy on me a couple times, but I just whammied her back. You know how to do that? I Googled it. I'm pretty sure I got it right. Joe's Grandma Bella is the scourge of the burg. She looks like an extra from a Godfather movie. She's steel gray hair pulled back into a bun. No makeup, ferocious black eyebrows, eyes like a fishhawk. 5 long black chin hairs. She's short and stooped and wears black shirtwaist dresses and flat black shoes. She's lived long. The longer she lived in the country, the stronger her Sicilian accent has become. And she is feared for her ability to give people the eye. The eye is some weird Sicilian curse that makes your hair fall out, your face break out in warts, your teeth rot in your mouth, and your private parts shrivel. Intelligent people cross the street rather than pass too close to Grandma Bella. Grandma prefers to pass as close as possible and double dare Bella to look at her cross-eyed. Bella is happy to comply. The result is sometimes an ugly display of old lady bitch slapping, and God forbid they should simultaneously get to the cookie table at the funeral home with just one cookie remaining. I love Grandma Bella. She's just the best. I really do. Connie says she has a new skip. Randy's at the office. Someone blew up his car, and his cousin kicks him out. He was staying with his cousin since Paletti was in jail. So then she meets the claims adjuster at his apartment, and every time this happens, she's always pissed off that it didn't reach the bathroom because the bathroom is the one room in her apartment she would really like to redo. And it's the one room in her house that's never touched. So they say that Briggs calls. He says he needs food at the apartment. They go grocery shopping. When they come out, Ranger's car shows it's been firebombed. Briggs was in it, and he got out. He loaded the groceries up. He sat in the car, and then he's like, well, let me check on Steffi to see if she needs help with the groceries. He got out. Briggs selected a cookie. I put the wine in the car and sat down in the passenger seat. And then I decided to see if you were finding everything okay in the store. So I got out of the car, and the next thing I hear is swoosh and kabam, and I was flying through the air. What was left of the car had been hosed down, and the fire truck was packing up. I'd given the police a preliminary report. Ranger called on my cell phone. The tracking mechanism on my Porsche went dead. Is there a problem? There are some mechanical difficulties, I said. It would be great if you could send someone to pick me up. I assume this is my car, he said. Yup. No one hurt? Nope. So we'll do a little more. She takes Randy to her apartment, and then Ranger and Steph talk about Blacko. So Stephanie decides to go back to the consulate with Randy, and she's going to pretend that Randy is a attorney, and she's going to go in there with her ripped shirt and say she was attacked in there. They need to compensate her for the attack. And while she's there, they figure out who the guy was. The leader has a dossier brought in on the guy. Randy fakes this thing. She's alone with the dossier. She takes pictures. She gets the information from Ranger. And then she goes home to Morelli, and Morelli tells her another one of the Paletti's partners was found in the river. And she calls, Grandma Bella calls her, and she was at a viewing, and she needs help getting home. What's up? I asked my mother. I just got 14 phone calls about someone hitting Joseph Grandma Bella in the face with a chocolate cream pie when she was walking out of the funeral home. They said she was going out the side door for some reason, and someone came out of nowhere and hit her with the pie. Did they know who did it? Grandma asked. Bella said it was you. That's a fib, Grandma said. I bet she never even saw who did it. I bet someone lured her out through the side door and then sneaked up behind her and reached around and smushed her with the pie. Those chocolate pies are a big gooey mess. She would have had pie in her eyes when the person was running away. She thinks it's me because I have her spooked. She don't know for sure. Were there witnesses? I asked my mother. I don't know, my mother said. Nobody mentioned witnesses. Well, there you have it, Grandma said. It's her word against mine. My mother narrowed her eyes at Grandma. I know you did it. No need to get your panties in a bunch, Grandma said. It was just a pie. And maybe it was an accident. Maybe the pie slipped out of someone's hand and landed in Bella's face. Is that the story you're going with? My mother asked. Yeah, I think I'll stick with that one, Grandma said. She goes back to Morelli's. My mother called, Morelli said. Someone got Bella with a chocolate cream pie, a full-on face job. I squeezed in between Bob and Morelli. Seems like a waste of a perfectly good pie. I wouldn't want to be in the shoes of whoever did it, Morelli said. Do you mean because of the curse thing? I mean because of the Sicilian revenge thing. He hooked a finger under the hem of my t-shirt, lifted it up, and peeked under. This is going to be a fun night. So, I think I'll leave you with that, except they go after one more Skip, and the guy's a homeless guy, but he takes care of about 10 chihuahuas, and they end up taking all the chihuahuas home with them. Stephanie takes them to her apartment because she has no rug in her apartment because of the fires, and Randy Briggs takes care of them, and he gets attached to them, and he starts finding them all homes. It's cute. Then another big Paletti gets let out of jail, and within an hour of getting out of jail, he's deceased. So he's not the one that's doing all the firebombing. He's not the one that's doing all the killing. And the forensics come back, and it's determined that the gun that's killed all the other people also killed Paletti, so it wasn't Paletti that was doing the killing. When she goes home to Morelli's, she had to go home and change her clothes after an incident. And when she gets back to the house, She goes upstairs, changes her shirt, she comes back down. There's a human heart on the counter. And at first she calls Ranger. She doesn't want to involve Morelli. Ranger comes over, has somebody come in and goes, yeah, that's human. Then they call Morelli to come home from his brother's house. He was helping fix the swing set. He comes back home. They say that it's a heart, and they're talking about the procedures they're going to follow. They have to call this in, blah, blah, blah. And they get talking. And while they are talking, Bob, who eats everything and anything, ate the heart. And they're like, this never happened. And they're like, yeah, never happened. So why did I think this was important? Let me just take a look here. Oh, that was the heart. There was a note with it, I'll have yours next. But so you'll have to read the book to find out why all of Paletti's partners are being killed, why Paletti was killed, why Randy Briggs is really being targeted. It turns out there were two separate people that were trying to kill him. One was firebombing his cars. One was firebombing Stephanie's apartment. So there's a couple of people there. What happens with the Russian guy, because he's tied to Ranger's past. And technically Ranger doesn't want the guy found because it could lead to a whole bunch of questions about Ranger's past. And so Stephanie helps him. They track the guy down in Atlantic City, and things go 6 ways to Sunday, and it's really interesting story. And they end up staying at the Monkey Hotel. I don't know if that's real or not, but we'll have to check it out. I don't think there's anything. Oh, there is one more thing that I will have to share with you. Because let me see if this is the page. Grandma gets her bucket wish. One of her things was to see somebody without clothes. And this whole incident has happened, and Grandma and Lula have shown up. Grandma was on a senior trip. The bus broke down. She called Lula to pick her up. Lula picks her up. They go to the hotel. They go up to see Stephanie in Ranger's apartment. And Ranger had gone in to take a shower. I looked around. I didn't see Grandma. She was in the bedroom, and she'd mentioned the bathroom. And oh my God, babe, Ranger shouted from the bathroom, come get your grandmother. Ranger was standing in the glass-enclosed shower with the door open, looking out at Grandma. He was dripping wet, seemed not especially concerned that he was naked. It's like she's paralyzed. He's amazing, Grandma said, eyes wide, staring unblinkingly, stupefaction. I yanked Grandma out and closed the bathroom door. It's mesmerizing, Grandma said. It was like staring into the eye of a cobra. I don't care if I do anything else on my bucket list. This was awesome. It was like a biblical experience. Lula looked at my shirt and my face. What the heck happened to you? There was a little skirmish. So you're going to have to read the book. It's a really interesting ending about who's doing all the killing, what's going on with Gerda and the polonium, and does Victor succeed in killing more people? He was going to do a mass murder thing. It's just a really interesting book, and we're going to head on, I think it's Turbo 22, and I want you all to have a Merry Christmas for Top Secret 21. And please hit the like and subscribe, and check out my Sleeping Beauty over here. There she is. Nope, I can't be on TV. Can't be on TV, no way. So, have a Merry Christmas. Thank you.